You'd guess the most powerful ancient women wore crowns and sat on thrones, but the real answer has almost nothing to do with royalty. Most people assume the opposite, that power always looked like a queen. Actually, the deepest power was often quiet, structural, and completely uncrowned. Real power meant owning land, controlling food, and deciding who led the tribe, none of which required a single golden throne to hold it. Now here's where it gets interesting. 7 civilizations claim to respect women, yet almost all of them hid a very different truth underneath. Kate leads you through 7 ancient societies, ranked by how much real power women actually held, saving the most surprising answer for last. In ancient Rome, a woman's entire legal identity belonged to her father or husband, called a paterfamilias, who controlled her property and choices. But there's a catch. Wealthy Roman women still ran businesses, owned property through legal loopholes, and quietly controlled household fortunes behind closed doors. A woman named Eumatia funded a massive public building in Pompeii, her name carved permanently into the very stone of the marketplace. Yet she still could not vote, hold office, or speak in the courts that decided how her own city was actually governed. Here's the detail nobody expects. Athenian women, celebrated for inventing democracy, were barely allowed outside their own homes without a male escort. An Athenian wife rarely appeared in public, could not own property, and needed a male guardian's permission for nearly every legal decision. Meanwhile, in Sparta, just a short walk away, women trained physically, owned land outright, and openly criticized men in public debate. Turns out, the truth is even stranger. Athens invented democracy for men only, while its rival built real independence for women instead. Now consider what this really meant in Egypt, where women could own property, initiate divorce, and run businesses completely on their own. Hatshepsut ruled as pharaoh for over 20 years, commissioning temples and trade expeditions under her own name and full royal authority. Cleopatra spoke 9 languages fluently and ruled Egypt as its final pharaoh, negotiating directly with Roman generals as their political equal. But that was not easy. Every powerful Egyptian queen still had to justify her rule through male gods and male ancestry. Most ancient people had to fight for property rights, yet Spartan women legally owned up to 40% of all Spartan land. Spartan girls trained in wrestling, running, and javelin throwing. Believing strong mothers produced the strong soldiers their entire society depended on. A Spartan woman named Cynisca became the first female Olympic champion in history. Winning a chariot race, she was banned from entering. And this is where it gets uncomfortable. Spartan power still existed to serve the state, not the individual woman herself. Here's what actually happened next, in Etruscan Italy, where women reclined beside men at banquets instead of serving them in silence. Etruscan tombs show wives and husbands buried side by side as equals, sharing inscriptions, wealth, and family names in permanent stone. Roman writers found this scandalous, describing Etruscan women as shockingly forward, simply for speaking openly and drinking wine at dinner. Somewhere along the way, someone figured this out long before Rome did, and Rome quietly erased most of the evidence afterward. This is where the story splits, because Celtic tribes across Britain and Gaul let women own land, lead armies, and inherit titles outright. Queen Boudica led an entire uprising against the Roman army after officials seized her land and publicly humiliated her own daughters. Celtic law, later written down as the Brehon Laws, allowed women to divorce freely and reclaim their original property afterward. And once you know this, everything else makes more sense. Rome called the Celts barbarians, partly because their women held real authority. Think about surviving in a world where goddesses outnumbered gods. Minoan Crete's art centers almost entirely on powerful female figures. Snake-holding priestesses appear across Minoan pottery and frescoes, suggesting women may have led major religious ceremonies on the island itself. No definite king has ever been confirmed to have ruled Minoan Crete, leaving historians to wonder if women simply ran it instead. But that's not the wild part. The true answer to this question lies 8,000 kilometers away, in a place nobody expects. Now here's the twist most people never hear. Kate reveals it was the Haudenosaunee Confederacy whose clan mothers actually governed daily life. Clan mothers chose every male chief, could remove one from power for misconduct, and controlled all the land, longhouses, and food supply. 19th century suffragists like Matilda Jocelyn Gage studied Haudenosaunee women directly, using their real political authority as proof equality was actually possible. Kate stands among all 7 civilizations, reminding you that the loudest crowns rarely held the quietest, most complete power of all. You pictured a queen on a throne when this video began, but the real answer was a clan mother choosing who led.